There's a force inside you, not a voice, not a feeling, something deeper. It moves before you think. It decides before you choose. It shapes your reality like an invisible architect, building the same rooms, the same walls, the same doors, over and over again. You call it personality. You call it just who I am. But what if it's not? What if you're being operated by a pattern so deep, so silent, that you've never even questioned it? Welcome to Soul Mechanics Studio. I'm here to show you the machinery.
Before we dive into the 5 signs, you need to understand what we're dealing with. Hidden patterns aren't your habits. They're not your routines. They're the operating system beneath your conscious mind. They're the algorithms written in childhood, carved by trauma, inherited through generations, absorbed from culture. They're the reason you keep choosing the same type of partner, the reason you sabotage yourself right before success, the reason you feel stuck even when everything should be working. And here's the disturbing part, you can't see them while they're running. That's why we're here, to make the invisible visible. Sign number 1, the reaction loop. You know that moment when someone says something and you instantly react? Not respond, react. Before you've even processed what they said, your body is already tense. Your voice is already defensive. Your mind is already building the counterattack. This is the pattern speaking, not you. The reaction loop is a pre-programmed response installed usually between ages 2 and 7. Someone criticizes you and suddenly you're 5 years old again, being told you're not good enough. Someone questions your decision and you're back in that moment when your autonomy was stripped away. The pattern runs like this: trigger, emotional spike, automatic behavior, temporary relief, shame, repeat. Here's how to spot it. First indicator, your reaction is faster than your thought. The feeling comes before the thinking. That's the pattern hijacking your nervous system. Second indicator, the intensity doesn't match the situation. Someone mildly disagrees with you and you feel rage, panic, or collapse. That's disproportionate. That's not about now, that's about then. Third indicator, you feel regret afterward. Why did I say that? Why did I do that? Because it wasn't fully you. It was the pattern using your voice. The reaction loop keeps you trapped in the same emotional weather. Same storm, different day. Sign number 2, the invisible ceiling. You work hard, you're talented, you have the skills, but somehow you never quite break through. You get close to success and then something happens. You self-sabotage, you get sick, you pick a fight, you lose interest. It's not bad luck. It's not the universe conspiring against you. It's a hidden pattern called the upper limit problem. Your subconscious has a thermostat for how much success, love, or happiness you're allowed to have. When you exceed that limit, the pattern kicks in to bring you back down to the familiar zone. Why? Because at some point you learned that being too much was dangerous, too successful and you'd be abandoned, too happy and something bad would happen, too visible and you'd be attacked. So the pattern protects you by keeping you small. How it shows up? First, you achieve something significant, then immediately find something to worry about. You get the promotion, then obsess about being fired. You fall in love, then wait for them to leave. Second, you have big dreams, but never quite take the final step. The book is 90% done, but you never publish. The business plan is ready, but you never launch. You're always preparing, but never arriving. Third, you feel guilty or anxious when things go well. Good news makes you nervous. Success feels wrong. You actually feel more comfortable in struggle. This is the pattern keeping you in your cage, and the cage is made of your own beliefs. Sign number 3, the relationship template. Look at your last 3 relationships: romantic, friendship, professional. Do you see a pattern? Different people, same dynamic, same problems, same ending. That's because you're not choosing people. You're being chosen by a template. This template was formed in your first relationships, usually with your parents or primary caregivers. You learned what love looked like, what connection felt like, what safety required. And then you spend the rest of your life recreating it. If love came with anxiety, you'll find partners who make you anxious. If connection required you to be smaller, you'll find people who need you to dim your light. If safety meant being hypervigilant, you'll attract chaos. Here's the mechanism. Your nervous system recognizes familiar as safe, even when familiar is actually painful. So you're drawn to people who activate the same neural pathways as your early experiences. The signs you're running this pattern? First, you have a type, and that type keeps hurting you. But you can't help it. You're just attracted to them. That's not attraction. That's recognition. Your system recognizing the old pattern. Second, you repeat the same role in every relationship. Always the caretaker, always the fixer, always the one who leaves, always the one who gets left. The characters change, but your part stays the same. Third, you're surprised when the same thing happens again. I can't believe this is happening again. Yes, you can, because the pattern is consistent. Only your awareness isn't. The relationship template is one of the most powerful patterns because it operates through feeling, not thinking. You can't logic your way out of it. You have to rewire it at the nervous system level. Sign number 4, the identity prison. This is just who I am. I've always been this way. It's my personality. These statements feel like self-acceptance, but they're actually self-imprisonment, because underneath who you are is a pattern pretending to be you. Here's what happened. At some point in your development, you received messages about who you needed to be to survive, to be loved, to be safe, and you built an identity around that. The smart one, the responsible one, the rebel, the helper, the invisible one, the strong one who never needs help. This identity served you once. It was a survival strategy, but now it's a cage. The pattern maintains this identity through, first, selective attention. You only notice evidence that confirms your identity. You ignore or dismiss anything that contradicts it. I'm not creative means you never see the creative things you do. Second, defensive reactions. When someone sees you differently than you see yourself, you feel threatened. If you identify as independent and someone offers help, you feel insulted. The pattern protects itself. Third, life choices that reinforce the identity. You choose careers, relationships, and environments that allow you to keep playing the same character. The responsible one can never relax because that would threaten the whole structure. How to recognize this pattern in yourself. When someone compliments you on something outside your identity, you deflect it. Oh, that's not really me. But why not? Who decided what's really you? When you imagine changing something fundamental, you feel fear, not just nervousness, but existential fear. Because if you're not this, who are you? When you hear yourself saying, I'm just not that kind of person, ask who decided and when. The identity prison is built from stories you've been telling yourself so long you think they're facts. They're not facts. They're just the pattern's favorite script. Sign number 5, and this is the deepest one, the future script. You already know how your future will unfold, don't you? You know you'll probably stay in the same type of job. You know your relationships will likely follow the same arc. You know you'll try to change and eventually give up, just like you always do. This isn't pessimism. This isn't even prediction. It's a script. The pattern doesn't just control your past and present, it colonizes your future. Here's how. Your imagination is not free.
When you try to envision a different life, the pattern immediately generates realistic objections. That's not practical. People like me don't do that. It's too late. I don't have what it takes. These aren't rational assessments. They're the pattern defending itself. Because if you could truly imagine a different future, you might start building it. And that would end the pattern's control. How the future script operates? First, your dreams have limits built into them. Even your fantasies are realistic. Even your imagination is practical. The pattern has colonized even your hope. Second, when you imagine success, you immediately imagine the disaster after it. You see yourself happy, then immediately see it falling apart. This isn't wisdom. It's the pattern preemptively destroying what threatens it. Third, you have a deep, unexamined belief that this is as good as it gets. Not consciously, but somewhere in your body, you've accepted a ceiling. The future script is perhaps the most insidious pattern because it makes you believe that your limited future is simply reality, when it's actually just a very convincing story the pattern keeps telling you. Breaking free begins with recognizing your future is not predetermined. It's just being written by a very old, very tired pattern. And patterns can be rewritten.
So now you know. 5 signs you're being controlled by a hidden pattern. The reaction loop, the invisible ceiling, the relationship template, the identity prison, the future script. If you recognized yourself in even one of these, you're not broken, you're not weak, you're just running old software. And here's the profound truth. The moment you see the pattern is the moment you're no longer fully controlled by it. Awareness creates distance. Distance creates choice. Choice creates freedom. This is the work we do here at Soul Mechanics Studio. Not positive thinking, not manifesting, not bypassing. Deep pattern recognition, conscious rewiring, true transformation. In the next videos in this series, we'll go deeper. We'll explore how these patterns form, why they're so hard to break, and most importantly, the exact mechanics of how to rewrite them at the root level. Because you didn't come here for comfort, you came here for truth. And the truth is, you are not your patterns. You are the awareness that can see them. Welcome to the work. Welcome to Soul Mechanics Studio. This is where the real transformation begins.